Okay, in a minute here we're going to try start up on a Allan Oil Engine made in Aberdeen, Scotland. This engine come from a station in Australia, actually South Australia, near Adelaide, where it ran a buzz saw. We got it from the fellow that got it off the original site there in Australia. We've done some things mechanically to it. It was painted by him down in Australia, but we fixed up a few mechanical things before we're going to try to give it a run. It's had new valves and just a few little details worked out on it. Pretty nice engine. I'll go through a few of the features quick. It's got a counterbalance crank, got an oil reservoir on the rod, oil wells on the mains. The fuel tank is built into the base. This cover here is the fill lid. There's a square cover back there that's a clean out and inspection hole. And then this little rod here is actually attached to a float. That's the fuel gauge. I'm trying to stay out of the sun here so the picture's not glaring. Fuel pump sits right on top of the tank. It has a pickup line with a check valve on it that extends down into the tank. It's a hit and miss engine, which for an oil engine, it's some of them were hit and miss and some were throttlers. This one happens to be hit and miss. It's the decompression cam or roller for the exhaust rocker arm, and then it's got the decompression lobe on this side, so you can pop that back and forth for starting. Upright fly ball governor. And we've got the flame going for the hot bulb. One thing with an oil engine, you never crank the cold one. It's too much work until you got it nice and warm. This is the fuel valve here. Mixer is on the other side over there. I'll show you more of that in a second. And the intake valve is atmospheric. And this little funnel on top is a water injector, I guess you'd call it, or water feed. Comes out of the top of the cylinder on the other side, dribbles into here, and then it just runs in around the intake valve. I suppose some idea to stop pre-ignition. Couple tags. These Allans were sold by Bagshaw down in Adelaide. This engine is scavenge governed, so it's hit and miss, but it doesn't lock the exhaust valve out. The governor just works on the fuel, moves that little wedge out of the way for when the pick that runs on the front cam there will open the fuel valve, but it'll only open it if that wedge comes down and gets lined up. For starting, it's got a starting lever right there. Holds the governor linkage up. That was to prevent the fuel valve from sitting open when the engine came to a stop. We've got water to the engine. Got an overflow funnel there, so as a visual aid to know the cylinder's full. One of the nicest things on these English engines is those earn glass oilers. They really made some nice brass. This is no exception. There's the wording on the bottom. Allan Brothers, Aberdeen. Water's flowing. Exhaust pipe. We got a choke valve here. Got a set screw on it. There's a setting for the fuel. Overflow. Carburetor. This is an intermittent lamp engine, so theoretically while it's working you should be able to shut the cover up on the bottom, put the little cap down there on top, and you wouldn't need the flame going all the time. It's got a compartment in the bottom there with a bunch of little bronze rods in it to help hold the heat. The earlier ones, they called a continuous lamp, I believe, where you pretty much had to keep the torch going about full time. No, I think we're warm enough. We'll give it a try here in a second and see what happens.